Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. The market literally just closed like 5 seconds ago, so let's go over the market today, see what happened. It's a fresh week, Monday of course, and let's see what we can figure out for today that happened, rather, that can lead us to get a better idea of how this week can potentially look. So the market, Tesla, ending the day pretty up and down, random day, kind of. It went up and down like 2%. It will go up like and down 2% like every 15 minutes. Was pretty wild, but nonetheless, it kind of stabilized throughout the second half of the day, ending the day up 1.66% at 600 and just shy of $675, which is about $11 increase in the day. So pretty typical relief bounce we're getting here, right? This is a pretty typical relief bounce. I wouldn't say this is anything completely out of the ordinary. Usually when you get big drops, you get a quick little relief bounce, similar to what we had several times. Like, we had a big drop here, quick little relief bounce, another big drop, relief bounce, big drop, relief bounce, big drop, we're getting another relief bounce. Now, it's just a matter of, well, when do we stop falling after the relief bounce? Like, eventually one of these relief bounces will actually hold, right? The momentum, I guess, will start to turn, a bit more bullish. It'll start to hold this general level. And, eventually it'll essentially start to turn back up into the upside momentum, if you will, as opposed to, constantly going big fall, small relief, big fall, small relief. Because, that can't just keep happening, because eventually at some point the stall gets low enough to where the bulls are really going to be stepping in. So now the main question is, how do we figure out when that, finally changes? How do we figure out when we're going to start finally going up, as opposed to constantly having, overall falls with some small relief bounces in between? Well, number one, the one thing I do, like I said, in terms of just straight kind of seeing momentum, if you will, and evaluating momentum is, this 5-day moving average, which is, if you look really closely, it's a little hard to see, honestly, but if I kind of zoom in a bit here, you can see this blue line essentially going above the blue line. Like I said, remember here, it was actually an extreme bait. This was a fairly bullish candle above the 5-day moving average, which is great. But like I said, don't forget, guys, I do have that 3-day rule where, so essentially, just because here, for instance, it went above it, and even though it had a pretty bullish looking candle, which again was pretty much of a bait, in my opinion, it was definitely a bull trap. You want to maintain above it. It's not just about like, one day. Same thing, when you break certain trends, whether it's a bullish or bearish break, it's not just about like breaking it for the one day. It's about breaking it, but holding the break, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. So in this case, it's the same thing where, just because we broke above it, it was a good sign, but it's not confirmed yet. And what would have confirmed this is if we kept above this 5-day moving average for about 3 days. So let's say 2 more candles after that, and, you kept above it. That to me would have been great. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and we kind of got stuck back under, and now we maintained well below it once again. So that's number one. If we can start moving over this 5-day moving average, at the moment is sitting just over $700, and we can go above that and stay above it for about 3 days at least, in my opinion, that will be one of the big signs that we are finally starting to look to switch momentum here to the bullish side, which is great. Another thing is just a simple support and resistance, right? So moving back to this situation that we found ourselves in earlier with the 1-hour chart. So today we kind of, fell all the way down. So we essentially overall fell all the way down to around 630, and then we would recover, which is great. And we kind of still, held around this general level. Now, the one thing I was personally worried about is that this was going to be setting up for a bear flag. Now, thankfully, there's a chance that this actually doesn't play out for the bear flag, because usually what would happen is you get these relief bounces. The relief bounce essentially just forms a bear flag, and then you essentially just sell off. So there's still definitely a chance that this ends up being a bit of a bear flag. But, so this is the way I see it, right? This is essentially the bear flag. Something like this, right? That's pretty much the bear flag. You kind of move down rather. You kind of move up in this little channel, which essentially creates a bear flag. And then once you break out, you just fall back down. Now, even though we kind of did sort of fall out over here, you can see, as long as we don't really fall too far below, and in my opinion, as long as we don't make a lower low, I think we're fine for now. So number one that you want to look out for if you're looking for, the bullish side, and you want this to finally flip to the bullish momentum, is you absolutely don't want to see a lower low. The fact that we bounced off of this shows that this 630 area was a good support. That is a support that's worthy of a bounce, which is good. Now, what's not good is if we fall below it, if we make a lower low, if we go below 630, just to make it, a little more simple. If we ever break 630, and I don't mean just like, break for like a minute or 5 minutes or even 10 minutes. I mean like a solid break and maintain below it. Then we're definitely going to be seeing 600, if not lower. Potentially lower, honestly. So that's number one. You don't want to see 600 break. Number two, what level do you want to look out for if you want to see like an actual reversal, right? Well, the first and foremost is the level we got rejected at today, which I did say I think on Friday, I did mention how, I wouldn't be surprised if we revisit 680, maybe 700, and either get rejected and then probably either head substantially lower, or at the very least, maybe double bottom at 630, which is also possible, or we test 700 and then potentially, either go above it or get rejected as well, which again, if we get rejected at either of these two levels and we don't break above them, that situation still applies, where I think at the very least we'll come down to do a double bottom. If it breaks, then we're obviously heading even lower to 600, if not lower than that. I'll show you guys something else soon regarding that on the weekly. So those are the two levels I would look for. Number one, we want to see 680 break and hold above, but ideally you really want to see around 700 to like 7.5, 7.10, like the very, very, very low 700s, like between 700 to 710 dollars roughly. You really, really want to see that break and hold. That would be extremely important, but 700 also would just that alone would be pretty good in my opinion as well. So essentially you want to see those two levels not only break, but you also want to see them hold above for like maybe a few days, not just one day, maybe not even just 2 days. You want to see a few days. Tomorrow we have Fed speakers. We have a fairly hawkish Fed speaker tomorrow. I forgot his name. I think it's Bullard. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some volatility tomorrow. But again, so if we don't break above 680, I personally wouldn't be surprised to see a drop back down to 630 and get one more test of that. The bright side is if we do get a drop back to 630, not only is it set up once again potentially a beautiful double bottom formation, which is a bullish reversal, but we also really confirm the 630 as being a valid support, which we can push up from and start heading higher. Now the question also is, well, where do we push up? Let's say we break 700. We break 700. We hold above it. Things are looking like they want to turn bullish. We're above the 5-day moving average, like I said on the daily. Where can we possibly head? Right? What levels can we look out for the next leg up? Because again, it's legs down, legs up. Stocks move in zigzags, right? It's a zigzag, zig, zag, zig, and this could be the next bottom, right? For now, we'll see, and then we can zigzag back up essentially in this case. But the question is again, where can we go though? Like, okay, let's say that happens. Where is the level to watch out for? Well, let's say that we actually solidify, this kind of 630, 632 area as a potential double bottom. That can put us to, in my opinion, one of three levels. The average median level, if you will be around this kind of 900 level, this 891-ish level, something like that. Following that, we of course have either the 0.618 or the 0.382, which would put us between 830, 891, and 952. Those are the three levels I would watch out for. The first of which, of course, being 830, which I definitely think will break. I don't think that'll hold us back too much, assuming, of course, we reverse from this level, assuming we don't go lower. Which who knows, we'll see. But that would be the first level, which also will kind of, break us out of this formation, which I think can maybe for now reject us, potentially come back to reconfirm and then continue moving upwards. But ultimately, again, this is on the weekly. I would personally expect a run up to around 900, maybe 952 if we're lucky. And the thing is even if we go up to this 768 Fibonacci level all the way at the top here, which is at 1040, even if we go all the way up there, that would still put us in an overall, for now, downtrend, because we're still going to be setting lower lows and lower highs. Essentially, if you want to see Tesla turn from this overall downtrend that we're in, where we're setting lower lows and lower highs right now, because this is a low, then lower high, lower low, what you want to see is either one of two things. You want to see Tesla, once we finally find some kind of bottom and get a reversal, similar to what happened here. We found this bottom here and we had a nice beautiful reversal. Once we have something like this play out again over here, you want to see, where do we go? Do we go all the way back up to just, let's say, even if we go to 1040, we're still setting a lower high, right? Because we're not breaking this high over here. So number one is you want to see a break of this high of 1150, maybe let's say to, I don't know, 1200 for instance. Again, this is thinking way out in the future. This is not going to happen like tomorrow or even next month necessarily. This is just as theoretical example. If we come up all the way to 1200, that would set a higher high, and then as long as we fall back down and don't set a lower low than this level, now we are officially in a uptrend reversal, which is great. Another thing that you can potentially look for is if we don't set a higher high, which I don't think we will. So let's say we go up to this kind of like 900-ish level, which I think we might kind of reach. I still think we might go up to like somewhere in the 900s. It's very possible, which again will look bullish. I think it'll bait a lot of people in, but it's not confirmed yet, because even if we go up to 900, as long as if we go to 900 and we come back down and we set a higher low, that right there can potentially lead us into a reversal as well. That is like a good first indicator or first sign. However, if we go up to 900, let's say, or like 950 or whatever, something in that general range, but then the market just, baits everyone in and then it just plummets right again, kind of like what happened here, where it just kind of ran up and then just absolutely skyrocketed to the downside, I guess, plummeted to Earth's core. Same thing can happen again, right? Because then we're potentially going to be setting a lower high, and then we can potentially plummet and set an even lower low, let's say all the way down to like somewhere in the 500s, maybe like 550, which I don't think is out of the equation whatsoever. Absolutely possible. So that's kind of the overall kind of, slightly longer term thesis or projection that you want to kind of look out for, in my opinion. Now, going back to the daily very quickly, like I said on Friday, we are setting up overall a bullish divergence still. You can see here, even though we made lower lows over here at 630, we're still setting a higher low on the RSI versus when we were sitting at 680, which is good. That's a good sign. That's an overall, it's not a huge lower high or higher low, but it's there nonetheless, which is, again, like I said on Friday, a good start. It's just kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. Just, you can see the dim lights, which is good. Not bad. I do like that. So we'll see how that plays out, guys. But that's essentially what I'm currently looking at right now. The very first thing you can also look out for, if you want to keep it a little more simple, is just a simple breakout of this current channel that we are in. So the very first thing in the kind of, very short to medium-ish, but mainly short-term, I would personally look out for is a break above 680, ideally 700, and hold above that for a couple of days at least. And then eventually break out of this overall channel that we're in, which will put us to around, somewhere in the 700, mid to high 700s. Following that, of course, we also have, if we don't break above this, I do want to see 630 if we come back down again, which I think we will. If we don't break above one of these two levels, 700 and 680, I want to see this hold as a potential double bottom, which I definitely think has a decent chance of happening. But again, if 630 breaks, we're probably heading lower, which you can get a better idea on the weekly as to where we can go. So if you kind of reset the weekly here, you can see here. So we're currently sitting around this level, right? If this level breaks and this level does not hold, I would not be shocked whatsoever to see at the very least 600, if not all the way down to potentially somewhere in the mid 500s. Now, if we ever lose the mid 500s, we're pretty much plummeting all the way down to like 450. So let's just say we don't want to lose around 550. That will be extremely bad. You can see there's minimal support here. There's actually a freaking gap over here sitting at 490 that we have yet to fill. So keep that in mind, guys. Not all gaps fill, but this is definitely a possibility. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to remove any single possibility. Those are the overall levels that we can go to, and I give you guys all the conditions that need to be met for either of those levels to be achieved, and what you want to look out for a break to the upside or to the downside, and for confirmed reversals or essentially staying underneath this, staying in this downtrend still. So that's a lot of information. I hope it'll make a lot of sense. If you guys would do me a favor, a like button would help by quite a bit. But yeah, that's essentially what I'm seeing, guys. Also, last thing to note is, of course, sentiment among peers, among retail investors. Remember back when we were rallying all the way up here, and then somewhere around like this high 900s, I started getting bearish, and I kept saying that we're gonna fall. But then we kind of kept rallying upwards, and everyone was calling me an idiot, blah blah blah. And don't get me wrong, yeah, sure, I was wrong. We went higher than I thought. But remember when that was happening, and everyone was saying all-time highs, Tesla, there's no stopping Tesla. We're just going up, 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 up. Well, this is what I meant when I, this is kind of what happens. Like when you see a lot of people in the comments essentially doing the opposite of what I'm saying. So again, in this case, when I was saying that, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful, I kept saying, be careful. All these levels up here, 900 to this 1100, I kept saying, be careful. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. This is not normal, blah, blah, blah. Everyone was like saying, yo, you're an idiot. Same thing is happening right now. I'm saying, okay, well, now I'm getting more bullish, because here I was getting bearish. Now I'm getting bullish, right? All the way down here when everyone is screaming for like 200, 300, 400 Tesla. It's plummeting. It's never recovering. Exactly same thing is happening. That happened over here. Just flip now. Keep that in mind, guys. When you see, idiotic comments like that, there's a sign that, we're approaching a bottom in this case, or the vice versa, the top, for the short term at least. So another thing to keep in mind, but I'm seeing those kind of comments come out right now. There's a lot of, really interesting individuals, let's just say that, posting, interesting comments. We'll also just, just say that as well. We'll leave it, as family friendly as we can. But when you see those kind of comments, that's when you know that there's a potential reversal coming up soon. But other than that, guys, let me know what you think down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.